Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Dean from InfoTrack, and I'll be your moderator for this session. We are excited to have you join us for Excel Hacks, Quick Fix for Everyday Struggles, a webinar focused on helping you improve your Excel skills with quick and practical tips. This 90-minute session will be interactive, practical, and highly relevant to your daily work tasks. Before we begin, let me introduce Pauline Leong, our expert speaker for today's session. She is Microsoft Office specialist with over 15 years of experience, global training for leading organizations like Shell, GSK, and Samsung. Pauline is a certified Microsoft Office trainer, specializing in Excel, Adobe, and more. With over a decade of designing custom training for multinational companies, she knows what works and what wastes your time. Known for delivering real-world Excel skills with energy, clarity, and practical insight you can apply immediately. Without further ado, let's get started. Pauline, are you ready? Pauline,
Hi, everyone, and hi, Dean. So
great,
thanks for your introduction. And having everybody with me. Thank you so much.
great.
All right.
Over to you.
Okay, thank you. So nice to meet you, all of you. Let me present with my screen, first of all. Let me sharing out the screen that I'm having it. As what we actually knowing that today we are coming to actually finding out. So what's good for the daily daily works. So which we can actually fix it quickly and easily. Of course, provide with some formulas and functions so that we wanted to know how to. So the first features that I would like to share with you was regarding on the custom formatting because a lot of people was actually asking. So regarding on this custom formatting, seems like very scary. So because long never using such a decades ago, so we haven't tried on the custom formatting. So most of the time we will just try to use the existing features that could help us to fix the job. Right. For the moment, what we have to do was kindly take a look on the tables that I'm preparing for everyone. So of course, what we had over here was regarding on the lease, so that we have a lease of revenue versus the profit. So whereby we would like to actually seeing that the figures, so seems like quite a long figures over here. So 35 millions, 425 millions, and so on and so forth. All right, so sometimes we wanted to actually is our way to keep the data records in a minimum number, so of showing these results. So whereas in the profit area, so we have these few hundred, so thousand. So from here, some people will say few hundred thousand, may I actually ending with the K. So let's say few millions, may I ending with the M. So if we wanted to do so, definitely what we got to do, we have to go to the format cell. So to do some customization over here. Now, of course, to go into the customization, let me just first of all highlight the column that I'm having it. So with me, which is revenue, I'm just going to use the shortcuts key. So they have a few practical way to do so. So one of the features that you can actually found to go into the format cell would be using this feature, which is this font setting. So we noticed that this was a more features, more button that you notice that from the screen. So you could also getting this alignment category from the home ribbon. Okay, so and whereby the home ribbons do have this alignment with more numbers and so on and so forth. So nevertheless, you could also using shortcuts key. So the shortcuts key that we have would be Control 1. All right, so you notice that on my right corner bottom, I do have that features. So Control 1 showing out on the screen, whereby you, if not using Control 1, that would be clicking on the buttons presented here. And of course, we are moving into the format cell. So customization for the format, we have to begins to look into the features over here. Wow, plenty of different symbols. So making everybody crazy over here. So yes, also scary to all of us if we are first time using this customization on the format cells. So that's why most of us, we just ignore. So we are not going to covering this feature. Of course, no doubt, some of the features really helpful. So let me just introduce to everybody what we had over here. They mostly divided by 3 to 4 parts. Okay, so let me zoom in on my screen and sharing with you on here. So whatever they highlighted for me was this result. So we just wanted to share with you in between. So we noticed that there was a colon sign. So the left-hand side of the colon sign basically was the positive figure. All right, so how would you going to present the positive figure? So therefore, this is the symbols that you're going to use. So my dear friend, the hashtag that you normally see was referring to the number. So starting from number 1 up to number 9. So of course, followed by 0 given to you. And of course, sometimes you needed to have a space. Definitely, we needed to have underscores provided. So the second portion would be regarding on the negative number. So of course, negative number required to have dash symbols in between, followed by the text. So at the back. So if we wanted to present that information showing the text at the back, we got to know how to do that. So, all right, so this is just a quick introductions. Of course, if we are interested, you have to maybe joining the session. So the actual sessions for the day. So now, what we wanted to do from here, basically, we just wanted to go over to the very basic features given by Microsoft, such as we have a very basic, these hashtag. So one hashtag with a comma, that would be 1,000. So followed by the back. Now, of course, we notice that the moment I choose the simple sample of the formatting custom format from here, we notice that there was a samples presented on the top. So this sample presented on the top was showing what's the type given here. So the type of the customization. So let's say if I would like to have the M showing, let's say 1,000,000 to the back. So definitely I got to use, I'm trying out with the comma sign. So once I'm trying out right after the 0 with a comma sign, you will notice that the system will started to chop off the zeros that not necessary. Of course, if I just wanted to add on one more comma, so did you notice that 35 millions become 35? So would you like to have, let's say, for example, a text which is given by M in a capital letter, maybe? Okay, so I'm just going to add on this. Now, 35 and million, isn't it looking straight to the point and straight to the amount? Otherwise, the appearance of these a lot of zeros given at the back, sometimes difficult to calculate. So because of that, we could actually confirm. So to confirm this symbol and applying it to the figures given here. So let me just hit the OK button. And by doing that, I will going to zoom out. All right. So once I zoom out, ladies and gentlemen, notice that all these informations up to date. All right. Of course, I have another portions that I have to go through. So which I was trying to share with you on the, so let's say 700,000, 850,000, I have this particular list. I may actually wanted to try out another sample of this custom formatting to customize it as a 100K. So let's say 700K, 850Ks, and so on and so forth. So make the figures and numbers simple. Now, of course, in the same time, I do have these shapes. All right, so before I move on to the second solution for the profit column, didn't you notice that at the bottom of the screen, we have the shapes given. So the shapes given nowadays, a lot of people love to having and quick interactions and also quick user guide. All right, so user interface to show a shorter amount. So basically, this text box was actually linking to a formula. As you notice that the formula was linking to the cell. All right, so which we have that over here, the cell C13. So of course, when I click on this text box, the text box basically linking to the formula. So the linking cell, so which that linking cell was regarding on that. I was actually trying to mention this one and also given you an idea. So was linking, whereby the C13 was regarding onto the data record over to the bottom, so that we are referring to this amount. Whatever we updated to the custom formatting, it will update it to our final solution of this display. All right, this would be very helpful when you are going into your Power BI in the future. All right, of course, this is one of the way for me to showing it as an offline Microsoft Excel worksheet over here. Let me proceed further. So I'm just going to use the features Control 1 to switch on this format cell. So, and I'm coming back to the custom. So whereby I would just wanted to go all the way back to the, very simple figures amount showing, which is a hashtag, comma, double hashtag, followed by 0. So of course, the solution I was given at the right side. So which we would like to present it as a in 1,000, we wanted to present K. All right, so this is the keywords we wanted to showing on the screen. Whereby, let me zoom in my screen and I would like to share with you how am I going to proceed. Just as usual, we will just continue on with a comma sign. We just wanted to chop off because we wanted to get rid of the unnecessary remaining 0. Of course, in the future, this is only format the cell. So for the time being, I think 700K was fine for me. So I just proceed further with the double quote with the K capital, and followed by double quote. So double quote indicate that we needed to have the keyword or a special keywords to shown on the screen. So this is the way that we completed the task. So which is quite easy and super easy for you to get this result. So showing on your report. So you may submit the report and printing out the report. So when you have or you needed to do that necessary. Okay, so I'm just trying to zoom up and letting people, all of us, so all of our fellow friends over here, so to referring to the screen. Okay, so now I have completed this portion for the first hack, which was changing the numeric number, so to become million, all right, or either, so let's say few 100,000, we would like to have the K presented at the back. All right, so I'm just moving further to the second. Okay, so the second worksheet. So the second worksheet was regarding on the second, hacks. So which I have a client or which I have a participants came to me. So I have actually struggling. So to draw an underscore, my dear friend. So to us, sometimes we also encounter certain issues. So we have a form. We wanted to create a form. So we created a form. So due to the form, we wanted to actually printing out this particular form and sending out. So to letting other people fill in the details. Let's say, for example, this was an onboarding form. So we have a new employees coming in. We hope that the employees will fill up their details. So of course, when you are doing it in Microsoft Excel, so supposedly Microsoft Excel would be able easier to draw the line. So we all have this such perspective because we thought that we always think that Microsoft well versed with the columns, the grid lines, so column versus rows, so all the information's getting ready. So that's why we wanted to know how to. So a lot of people was actually thought that, oh, shall we just go to the cell? So let me just double click on the cell and I'm just going to have these underlined. So do you believe it? So do you believe me that you were actually using the same way? What I did was I was actually holding down holding down the shift key followed by under the dash button and put in there underscore. So this is what we did it commonly. So but if we wanted to do that, we have to doing it one by one. All right, so give you simple tips and tricks over here. So this was the actually daily works. So you guys and inclusive me myself, sometimes I have to prepare. So this form and that form for my uh, for my for my for my bosses or also for my clients or sometimes. All right, so due to that, I have to share with you on something. All right, so share with you on something. So share with you on how would you going to draw the underline so that the underscore may not be out of the border. So sometimes we worry that we go to the printout, so the printout was showing it, which is not tally with your what you have done with your drawing. So that's the most scariest part. So for all of us, because we have to keep on double checking, printing out, check, double click, double check. So soft copy and also hard copy. So until we get the things done correctly. So may I share with you on this? Also using custom formatting. So we have a solution. So which we have that solutions was using alias symbol. So the alias symbols was the displaying on the text. So alphanumeric. So that means displaying more on the text. So followed by asterisk. Mostly asterisk was meant for the wildcard or either meant for the, which we call it multiplying. All right. So we wanted to multiply many of these underscore. All right. So in order for me to complete the task, I'll just going to highlight. So in order for me to complete the task, as you notice that this was actually I did it through one column cell. So the record was done in a row. So row basis, okay, one column. All right, so I just get rid of the grid line. So therefore, I'm just going to highlight this portion. And I'm just, again, going back to the format cell. So, and going into the, so custom formatting. So this customization. So once again, I'm just coming back to the customization. So my dear friend, I have to change this type. All right, so what I have to work out from here was changing the type general. So I'm not going to use the general for the moment. No worries, when you press delete, the general still there at the bottom of the screen, as you notice that. The system also appearing what I have done earlier on. So if I'm just trying my zooming in on this screen feature, did you notice that? I still have my previous format, custom format that I set. So they will keep it so as a record and store in the memory. So what I wanted to do from here, so share with you on this alias, all right, followed by asterisk. So a very simple, followed by this underscore. Okay, so followed by this underscore. Once I have done, I just needed to confirm with OK. So cross your finger. So we hope that we could get the result. So of course, I hope that once I press OK from the screen, we would be able to get the final result from here. Ta-da! So done. Okay, so all the features that I have completed, so which is can be done in a short few seconds. Wow, this is quite amazing. So how come we didn't know in the first place or long time ago when we started to use Microsoft Excel? Okay, so now let me proceed further. So we're just using the first form, so to drawing out the underscore, all right, or underline. So to showing at the each row of the data record. So now, next one. Some people also have this issue showing colon sign. So do you have a difficulties to show the colon sign? All right, so of course, most of the time when we displaying colon, isn't it? We just put it there, a colon. So followed by next record, of course, employee ID, the keyword slightly longer. So we will just ignore it. So we just put the colon. Sometimes we have we hope that this colon can be actually standardized and stored in the same alignment. All right, of course, most of the time we will try our best to solve this problem. Some people ignore, so they just leave it as it is. But of course, for us, we wanted to beautify our work. So we wanted to try out, okay, how am I going to standardize this? Okay, so this colon sign. So takkan kita pergi double, just space bar all the way until the end. So that same alignment after the confirm password, the longest text. So takkan saya pergi ke atas. All right, so don't tell me we are going to do this way using a space bar. I do believe that including you and me. So sometimes I'm lazy to put it that. So to have a same alignment, I will just directly underlined. So space bar. So provide a space bar. Now, in order to do that, I'll just going to undo all my steps. All right, so just going to undo these all the steps here. So basically what we have to do when we creating a form, so we have to ready with how many columns when you are designing the form. So of course we have learned just now the underline, so already prepared. So in the H column, so the underline was ready, same as the previous sample, whereby over here we wanted to move on to go on to this following data record, which is running in a different column. All right, so the underscore would be a different column. So now let me highlight this column. All right, so let me zoom out. And I would like to move over back to the top of our custom formatting, which is the format cell. So let me press the control 1. So by going in, all right, or either I'm just going to coming back here. So clicking on the button, format cells, so custom. So next one, I would be going to assigning that alias, followed by asterisk, and then followed by colon sign. All right, so let me zoom in. This is the informations that I wanted to showing and display. So as usual, I will just pressing OK. So to hope that they will have these informations displaying same alignment. Wow, amazing feature. So that's a daily hacks or tips and tricks you can implement into your custom formatting. Right. Of course, I do notice that some of you started to, oh, wow, so the custom formatting can do such a wonderful work. All right, so which this feature a bit sayang, so was hidden behind the scene. So of course you needed to know some symbol, so how to deal with the symbol. So of course the solution I was actually written here. So you can referring to my screen to get the solution done. All right, so now let me proceed further. So let me proceed further to have another text, which also sometimes we needed to deal with. Okay, so I have a list of data record. So the data records given us the list of the item, and I have a January sales from the B column. So I blank a column over here, which is C column, and followed by the February sales information. No doubt the numbers that I presented to you was a small number. All right, of course, in the end of the day, we wanted to actually finding out the differences between February versus January. So behind the scene, this coming along with a formula, ladies and gentlemen. So of course, everyone, if you notice, I choose the cell. I'm just going to zooming in this area and the formula bar, or if I'm just going to double click the cell, basically was February versus January divided by the January minus 1. Okay, we wanted to actually knowing what's the percentage differences over here, February versus January. Okay, so now what we wanted to do from there, so I plan to show some coloring, so especially for the F column. Right, so through the F column, we knew that. So the figures or the amount could be higher than, so another next record. That means, let's say, for example, February lower than January. So that's why here the percentage showing negative result. Okay, so otherwise, let's say January, which is higher than February, so you will be getting a positive result. So sometimes we will encounter the figures or the number would be same. All right, so we have planning to do or something. So to do something on the format cell. All right. So this can be done. Let's say if you wanted to change the color. So of course that can be done through conditional formatting. So I plan to do something slightly different. So which we wanted to have three different conditions. When there was a displaying a negative amount, we hope that the negative amount will show red color sign. So, and give us a little symbol triangular. So we hope to have that triangular displaying on the screen. So of course, whereas positive figure, we hope to have a green color. So by showing up. Now, my dear friend, if I'm going to do that over to the conditional formatting, yes, I could actually quickly getting the answer right away. if follow what I plan to do from here. So the rules highlight sales rules. But let's say, for example, if I would like to change the font color inclusive with the icon set. All right, so therefore I have to do it twice. Am I right? So from the drop-down menu that we identify, so that in your daily work. But let's say, have you actually thought of this can be done through, so format cells one more time. Okay, so I have given you a solution over here on the screen. So which I put it there, format cells, I just needed to give them a positive figure, which is using green color. So the moment that you wanted to indicate the color, so everyone needed to know how to use the square parenthesis. So I call it square bracket, a parenthesis. So followed by the color. So what is the color code presented? So next we plan to have this symbol, which is up arrow key. And of course, the hashtag, as usual, we notice that any amount in front, so with a full stop 0, so a decimal point at the back, followed by the percent style. So as I told you, which we have this colon sign, we are going to have a separator, whereby that separator is going to basically to break apart this positive figure. All right, positive figure, I just put in over here, whereby the next portion was showing us the negative figure. All right, so besides that, we have the last portion. We hope to have using a semicolon to give me the final result if there was same, let's say 0%. So if the percentage showing 0%, okay, because February and January are the same, so 0%, we wanted to mention that this is unchanged, so value. All right, so how am I going to add on this triangular symbol? So into my format cell, custom formatting. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, you have to know tips and tricks, which is the shortcuts. Window, so with a full stop. We have a keyboard window, so and also a full stop. We just combine these two shortcut key together, you will have a pop-out screen, whereas that pop-out screen was going to displaying some emoji. All right, so you're coming into the emoji screen. So well, without further ado, I'm going to re-highlighting this portion. So which I'm going to working out with that, zooming out, followed by the shortcuts, re-displaying the format cell. So, and I'm just coming over through this customization. All right, so I'll just start it on with the type in. So whereby, again, let me zoom in the features from here. So I will first started to have this square bracket, followed by green, and followed by square bracket. Next, so we are about to input the symbol. So the moment that we wanted to input the symbol, so just produce the windows and the full stop. So you will be able to have these little tiny windows coming along with the emoji. Okay, so with the emoji, we have so many category displaying on the top. Definitely no time to showing everybody with that different emoji. So I'm just moving further to the recent use of that feature. So which is up arrow key sign. I just needed to use this triangular sign to show the green color. Okay, so after completed, I'm just applied to the screen after click. So just click on the X to close that pop-out screen. So, and continuously add on with the hashtag. So, and followed by the full stop, 0, followed by a 0%. Okay, so continue on with semicolon. Now, definitely the move further was the red color. Okay, so the same thing with the symbol here. Okay, so this round I needed to change to that. So let me just change this. So for the negative, hashtag sign, 0%, semicolon, followed by lastly, we would like to displaying unchanged. When the amount was the same. So the amount showing a same result from here. So I have completed this area. So I just needed to click on OK. So once I've done, I will have this result. Now, my dear friend, let's have a quick look. We are just going to, I'm just basically pressing F9. So by showing you the changes of the February. So basically, how come the February can change the amount? All right, so because we created, so I created a formula called random between. So ran between. So I'm just using F9, so to press on any of the cell, so to see the new upcoming, so information. All right, so I think I pressed too fast. I have to adjust the F column to make it wider. Otherwise, later on, you may notice that there was a keywords came out with so-called unchanged. All right, so I hope that we could get it through. Wow, we got it through. So this is unchanged when the sales of January versus the February were the same. So they were displaying the keyword. All right, so of course, some of these features, maybe if you wanted to do it through conditional formatting can be done, but of course needed to take a little bit of time. So maybe they can't solve you with the keywords that you wanted to show. All right, so not the percentage. All right, now next, I also wanted to share with you on another functions and formula, which you heard about that Excel 365 do have these repeat. So wrapped formulas and function. Now, wrapped formulas and function are actually well versed in repeating. So it's actually you have an item or text that you wanted to repeat. So then when you repeat it, you wanted to repeat it how many times? So sometimes you wanted to show the logo, you wanted to display the logo for many times. So, and then you must have the cell referencing at the back to refer how many times that you wanted to refer. So indirectly, we were using this particular formula so to present a bar chart. So if you want this formula to work as a bar chart format, so then you have to play around with the font style. All right, everybody knew that the font styles, we have many different kind of font styles given here. So that different kind of font styles representing different styles and different bold, different shapes inclusive, they could be coming along with underline. So symbols, some of these fonts representing the symbol. So, but one thing that make us interested on the playbill. Okay, we have a font style called playbill. All right, so I didn't do any much research in the olden days. All right, so whether we have a playbill, so let's say in the version of 2013, in the version of 2016, because we never aware and going into here and double check whether we have such font style. So once you have done, let me share with you. I'm just going to use the C column. All right. So I purposely leave this area blank because sometimes we have came across management would like to displaying the bar chart, but they don't want to display on the cell. So if you don't want to display, can't be displaying onto the number because it's going to cover the numbering. So this can be quickly done when you wanted to show the bar chart, isn't it? So we can actually getting the bar chart ready right away from here. So why we wanted to wasting that time to generating it to the column? Because we don't want to overlap. We don't want to see the overlapping. So because due to the overlapping, therefore we created another column. Now share with you. So first of all, the moment that I highlight, so I will tell the system that these two columns needed to be highlighted, and we plan to change the font as a playview format. So next, so we would be using different color sign, so left alignment. So you have to treat them as a font, displaying a font. But we will started to applying the formula into the cell, so it will transform the formulas based on the font given here to become a bar chart. All right, so see that magical feature. So this portion already done. So for them, so I just needed to share with you on the portions that let me highlight. So and started with the equal sign and wrapped followed by open a bracket. So open a bracket, I have to tell my system that I would like to use a vertical bar. Okay, so as a text format, definitely you can use any other symbols to representing it. Okay, so sometimes bar could be showing a bar chart, how many bars displaying on the screen. All right, referring to the cell from the left. Okay, so finish. I'm just using this shortcut feature, Control Enter. So once I finish with Control Enter, they will help me copy formulas to the rest of the cell. Okay, so I have another one to go through, which is the same formula wrapped. So followed by open a bracket. So double quote. So a bar symbol and comma, choose this particular cell and close the bracket. Yeah, so my dear friend, because I changed the color before, so you notice that how come the colors looks differently? So as I told you just now, we change so the font and also the color alignment and showing it as a different alignment. Now, therefore, let me press Control and followed by Enter to complete this task. All right, so to complete this task, did I have any problem with that? Equal to, so wrapped, followed by the quote and the bar. So comma, next the cell, close, Control Enter, done, and do. Okay, so I completed this feature. So the moment that I press F9 for the time being, I noticed that I have a live result. Okay, so through that, we have learned something. We can have a bar chart directly. So therefore, I also may not really wanted to displaying a bar chart from insert chart. So we can do it through the formatting cell. So now I have actually sharing out the moment 3 different formatting cells to actually solve your data analysis or through your report, or you are planning to prepare your Power BI reporting. Okay, so the next feature that I wanted to move on was a hack number 4, which was regarding on the different types or different ways of showing a total. So different ways of showing a total, my dear friend, we have plenty of ways to do that. So of course, you may do that through using equal to, cell plus cells, and so on and so forth. That could be a very traditional method. So sometimes we also encounter time consuming. So therefore, I would like to trying to sharing out. So to prepare the grand total, we just needed to highlight on the blank cell. So just referring to the shortcut key, auto sum shortcut key. Everyone, auto sum punya shortcut key or the auto sum shortcut key is alternate followed by equal sign. So I just press alternate followed by equal sign. So directly the answer was out. Okay, so this quickly generating a grand total. Okay, now besides that, we can bring the answer. Let me just pull it down over to the bottom. I also wanted to share with you, besides that, we have others. So such as, do you know that aware of they have extra buttons which we uses these analysis tool? So sometimes these analysis tool quite often bringing out to shown on screen and you can see them from time to time. But I may not knowing any one of us. So do we often using them or we just ignore them? So if you're just looking at these little, we call it analysis tool. So they can actually perform formatting. So quick formatting, quick charts, followed by total, table, spotlight. All right, so we can actually convert the data record become table format. So provided we highlight. If we never highlight, we choose a cell just like this. So that analysis tool won't be bringing out. So the moment that you started to, so highlight, therefore this little analysis tool was out. So let me just zoom in and zoom out. So therefore, I guess everybody knew that what I'm planning to do from here. So I can present a quick grand total. So to shown on screen. Number 2, I may wanted to have an average amount, count number of figures, followed by displaying percentage. So the system directly showing us the percentage, followed by running total. Okay, so the differences between auto sum versus running total. So was running total dealing with accumulation. So each column, they started to accumulate. So you notice that. So the answer showing from here, tally with this answer here. But coming over to the second column onwards, so the system double up the figure. So that's the accumulated figures calculation. So you may have your total revenue showing as percentage. All right. So nobody wouldn't say no to you. So you can actually showing that different result, or you wanted to change it from time to time, just click and changing it back to the normal. So auto sum. Therefore, the system was actually prompting out this message. So because they wanted to actually telling us that we have data there, do you want to repeat? Definitely, we say we wanted to repeat it. We wanted to replace it. So to replace that, the informations will get up to date. Now, what happened if we wanted to show percentage at the bottom to show it as another new line? Okay, so if you wanted to show a two different result, so my dear friend, I would just going to suggest to you, you may actually using this to have a quick calculation. First of all, switch over to the percentage. So applying OK, yes, to replacing it. And then after that, just bringing down over to the bottom, drag it over to the bottom. So once you got the answer, so again, so trying this total, auto sum, and showing the answer given to the bottom. And therefore, on the right, if I needed to show again a different set of grand total for the column, for the columnar displaying, so shall we have this different result? So that's why we have a left arrow button. We also do have a right arrow button. So click suggest the right arrow button, they will scroll further to the right. And now I'm just going to share with you percentage, or I plan to show you with the, so each row, what's the grand total from here. Okay, so now let me just select one of these results. So I have done. So they have a plenty of ways to show auto sum from here. Okay, so that's all for the hack number 4, which is a different ways to showing a grand total, straight to the point. So I'm coming over to next. So which is what we have grouping data. So the main concern over here was a lot of people asking for sometimes hiding the data record and can be easily showing the data record. I would like to share with you if, let's say, I have a set of these income statement, all right, so or ledgers prepared, well prepared by accountant. So let's say sometimes we wanted to actually showing only the total without the details. All right, so if that's the case, we have a normal traditional way, which is by using highlighting the row 7 to row 9. Of course, the total revenue was a grand total. We just wanted to show the grand total. So my dear friend, because of that, majority of us, we was actually doing it through, so a longer way, highlighted them, followed by hide the data record. Okay, so yes, can be done over here, but a bit old-fashioned. All right, so I have to going through many rounds. So if I already group this portion, I have to do it for the second round. Of course, the hiding features can be done. All right, so using highlighted, holding control key and highlight a few plenty of set of data record. So, and right mouse click. So going through hide or either unhide. Now, I guess everybody knew the way. So without further ado, share with you, we have a features given by Microsoft. So that feature was actually sitting in the category or the tab category, the tab ribbon. So that data tab ribbon do consist of this feature. So they call it group data. So everybody found the button. Where was the group data after I selected this data ribbon? So you found the data information. So let me just drawing out. So you saw that grouping the data result from here. So we can get the group feature from the outline category, my dear friend. So how to do this? Okay, so if you were to ask me, Pauline, I have to highlight and group it through. So this is category by category. So oops, so I have done that. So once I click, I just did a demonstration. So once I click, I notice that on my left, row number, we saw this little outline number. We have a minus sign, we can hide. We have a plus sign, we can collapse the data. So we can easily using a button given by the system to control hide and show. So of course, let's say kalau hide and unhide just now, you have to use this button to double click. So then was wasting our time. All right, now how am I going to proceed on since I have so many categories? So my dear friend, they have more shortcuts to go over here. They have another features which is auto outline. All right, so the auto outline was helping us to kind of like hiding all the data together. So provided if you have a formula. So if these worksheets do have a formulas, okay, to show for all of you. So how do I know these worksheets have the formula? So that formula could be repeated, highlighting a certain column or certain cells of the data record. I was actually able to go to the formulas ribbon, which is here. Okay, so and by going over to the show formulas. So if I were just open up showing formulas, wow, my dear friend, so the formulas was actually given and displaying at the bottom. They have a very standard formulas. So which category is going to minus off another category of the data record and followed by auto sum. Now, because of the formulas given, let me just close or show formula switching off. So I switch back to the data. Let me given you a clue. We don't have to so-called highlighting a row or column. So system will base on the formulas presented here to present you with auto bullets and button. So which needed to be linked together or which can be hidden behind the scene. So the button drawing, we just needed to use this auto outline. I just click on this button, auto outline. All right, so the auto outline belongs to the drop-down menu of the group. So my dear friend, so this is the button. Okay, so this button will indicate that where were the formulas. So once they found the formulas, I can actually sharing with you to hide the relevant data record by going through this 1, 2, all right, so or three different layers. So showing or 2 different layers just by showing all the subtotals and also the net income without showing all the details. You can have your report displaying whereby this report can be sending out for printing, okay, without the details. So I can actually finish this in a second, okay? So next, I'm just moving over to another interesting feature. Another interesting feature was this hack number 6. Everybody needed from time to time doing some data entry. That's why I put a title over here to do a data entry. So of course, to us, data entry could be boring, okay, for some of us. Let me zooming in. So we can have a data entry directly. So let's say I'm putting in name. So I'm putting in my name. So followed by job title. Okay, so I'm just an IT trainer. So notice that the moment I press ITI, so the T and trainer automatically came out. So we call this as an autocomplete. All right, so fine. I'm just going to proceed further. So department, from training department. So I put it there, training department. Status, all right, so I just put it there, full-time over here. All right, so once I put it there F, I would be able to get a full-time feature. So next one, extension 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by manager. Okay, so manager, we have, let's say Mr. Eng Sing. So I'm just putting in this data record, finish it. But have you thought of, can we entering the data even faster? So of course, we used to pressing enter once we completed the task, isn't it? So once we completed the task, the cursor moving down. So sometimes could be difficult for you to move the cursor back to the first screen. All right, so that's why I have to introduce to you, there was a hidden feature. So which we can dealing with. So I already prepare over to the top of the screen, kita panggil dia form. So the name of that features is a form button. Form button was actually sitting behind the scene. So we have to withdraw this button out so far behind the screen, the scene, so of Microsoft Excel to bring it out. So you can fill in just like you went through accounting system. So some of your accounting system, SAP system, isn't it? You have to go through this form. So I just needed to tell myself. So I just needed to create another new record. Let's say, for example, city, another new record. To bring the cursor down, I'm going to press the tab key. So I'm just going to press the tab key, my dear friend. So I'm just pressing the tab key so that the cursor is moving down. Okay, so of course I can press the tab key to move down my cursor. So notice that I was actually using a tab or either a shift tab to move up. So this is much easier for you to fill in the blank. Even though my cursor maybe could be far away, as long as I have that icon given to the top. All right, so of course, where to get the icon? All right, so we will preparing the questions and answer later on. So where to get the icon under customization. So the job title, all right, so maybe sales. So I put it there, salesperson. Okay, so next one, department, sales department. So once I completed, I just press enter. So didn't you notice that I complete only halfway through? So luckily the forms do provide me with the find previous. I can go back and continue my work. So if I accidentally press next or I accidentally press enter key from here. So the status here would be contract. So on and so forth, extension 2233. So next one, manager. Let's say, for example, Jasmine. So let me just proceed further. Of course, proceed further, I could actually press close or I could create a new. So if I press on the new, even though I never enter, my data record was completely done right away. So some people find it form very fast, easily to complete the information. So you can actually do that through the icon. So the icon can be searched or found from the customized ribbon, customized of the button, the customization through the setting options. Now, next, I also would like to share with you sometime when you may have, let's say, repeated data record. So sometimes you can have another feature, which is the features of a drop-down list. So sometimes we can actually get these drop-down lists ready. Okay, how to get these drop-down lists? So we can pick from the list if there was a existing data record. So let's say, again, this existing data record, let's say for a salesperson. So I wanted to, so referring back to the same job, salesperson, I just needed to deal with a shortcut. Now, my dear friend, what's the shortcuts? Let me zoom out. So the shortcuts, notice, control, alternate, followed by down arrow. So I'm just using alternate followed by down arrow from my existing data record. So let's say, for example, this is IT. So this could be, let's say, came from IT department. So we already had full-time, part-time, or contract. So you can put it there. So let's say this person was a part-time. So there is no extension over here, or maybe I'll just going to create 5/6 and 5/6. Okay, so this person is going to report to, let's say, Jasmine. So I can quickly fill in the blank with a drop-down list. So didn't you notice that we managed to get this through? So of course, this is one of the way for you to entering the data record. Now let me move over so to another hex. So we have completed the previous form. So another hex, my dear friend, look at my data set or the database presented. We have an employee, so ID. We're planning to handling some blank data. So sometimes due to the form entry, so certain repeated data record, we may not putting in. So that's why we have this blank information showing in the data record. If we do have plenty of blank informations not showing on the screen, difficult for us to generating pivot table by using this current table set. Okay, so that's why before we creating a pivot table, we must fill in the blank. So the step by step are already written on the right. So I would be quickly finishing this portion. So of course, plenty of blank data. How am I going to fill it up? First of all, I have to use this Control A, so to highlight the table entirely. So number two, I would be using a shortcut key, which is F5. So for you to work with the go to. So if you still recall, where's the go to button? The go to button came from home. So the go to button actually was part of the find and select. If you still recall, so there was this go to and special over here. If you could remember where's the button, getting that buttons ready. So by using the mouse click, that's another technique. If I were using shortcuts key, the tips and tricks even faster. So next, I'm just pressing F5 from here and I press special. So in the special, go to special, the list was long. So I have to tell the system where's the intersection we wanted to select blank cell. So where's the blank cell? My dear friend, I needed a system tell me the answer. So through the answer highlight, therefore, I found out these were the area. Okay, better than using filter and filter this data record. The purpose of having them highlighted because we wanted to fill in back the same data. So filling in back to the same data, that data record was the top cell data information. So this admin assistant. So therefore, I needed this keyword to be placing across. So the next shortcut key would be using Control followed by Enter. So Control Enter was going to help us on the pasting. So answer over to the highlighted cell. So Control Enter is very powerful feature. So if you know the way, I have completed. Well done, everyone. So if I completed my task, of course, behind the scene, these particular tasks do have the formulas ready. So somehow or rather, we have to get rid of the formula. So didn't you notice that the formula was appearing to the screen when I'm going to the formula, showing formula. So, and widen the screen, you may actually notice, oh, this is the formulas running behind the scene. So if I needed to get the real life data record without the cell linking, I do believe that we can break apart. So this cell linking by using Control A once more. So followed by the last feature, Control A. Next, you may do a right mouse click, followed by copy, and then lastly, we just right click, followed by paste as value. So we can easily fill in the blank. So data record to the blank cell easily. So, and less than half a day. So just less than a second. Okay, so this is how we completed the data because I have many of my participants come to me or came to me to ask about how am I filling in the same data record because I needed to massage this data and get ready for my pivot table. Yeah, there you go. This is the way to do so. All right, so review the answer for you. That's the solution. Right, I proceed further to the consolidation. So consolidate, my dear friend, was when you have a different set of table, so different set of data range, you are planning to actually combine them together and produce with a grand total. So most of the time we were doing this, okay, manually. All right, so my dear friend, two way slow, so far behind. If we were to just started on with equal sign, and select the cell. So followed by, again, the plus sign, followed by looking through where's the A product. So I have to combine, make sure these keyword were the same. So these keyword, so they are the same, then confirm. all right, 20 together. So my data record is January, February, March. I purposely put them all to become a 10 figures. That means the sales figures over here. So let's say, how am I going to get this second record? Isn't it not easy to find? So the name and the information. So the solution to solve this issue, so I would be bringing you to the consolidate. Consolidate was a feature came from the data. Okay, so came from the data. So in the data ribbon, we have to look for the button, which we call it consolidate. Let me zoom in the screen and letting you knowing that's the icon consolidate. So this consolidate helping us to combine or compile. So the informations and combine them together and showing the relevant answer. So whenever you wanted to use this consolidate, that means we have formulas needed to implement. So they come alongside with a formula because we wanted to get a grand total or either average result or either, let's say, the number of data record. So that's why they have sum, average, count, so on and so forth. So max or min. So let me getting ready. So for you to get ready, let us place the cursor here, solution. So below the solution, I just have to zoom out, which is easy for you to view. First of all, I have to select. So sum, all right, or which information, which functions to apply. Number two, reference. So, and I'm going to highlight these data record. So whenever I highlighting these data record, I would include the label given on the top. So next, I'm going to add the first January list. So number two, I'm going to add on the February list, add it over to the memory behind the scene. So, and continuously, I just highlighting this March. So I wanted to do it in one go. So not one by one. So therefore, on my top row, I highlighted with the product and sales. So these two keywords, we needed to ignore the calculation. That's why we have a top row. And when we ignore the calculation, that means we have a top rows that we applying it as a label. So system will use their technique. So to matching same spelling. So number two, we have this left column. All right. And whenever they found the same label, keyword, and name, so they will combine together. So let me complete this task by clicking on OK. Just a few seconds, I completed my task. All right, so I completed my task right away. So with this data record, rather than inputting with the cell linking here. All right, so this data consolidation can go across different files. They can also go across to a different worksheet. So this one we will discuss, all right, in the future. So this is only some information. Let me move further. Okay, over to coming over to the invoice. So anybody here was doing invoicing? Okay, so I have some hacks for you when you wanted to display some data record. So which we will combine data validations, so versus the filter function, whereby filter function was the so-called latest function. But of course, nowadays the functions formula is very straight to the point. So very straight to the point if you understanding the terminology and also understanding which data record to choose and why is that so. Now I prepared this invoice because I just planning to base on the invoice number. So therefore the system will automatically displaying the item. All right. So of course I needed to have my background resources. So I did prepare the resources for you, such as here. Okay, so that resources was coming along with this invoice was preparing for the pizza. Okay, so do you like to eat pizza, everyone? Okay, I guess so. Now, I do have this invoice ID. Okay, so sometimes these informations could be repeated. It's a sales data set. We have a pizza ID, so followed by the full name. So given a quantity and unit price, total price, pizza size, and in the end, we have the pizza category. All right, so of course, this was a relevant data record we wanted to, of course, retrieve. So what are the information that we retrieve? If you already had the template of invoice, so definitely you look at this area, item name, quantity, price, and total. So are you sure you wanted that quantity, the name of the pizza? All right, followed by quantity, followed by unit price and the total price. The rest we don't want. Okay, so if we wanted to retrieve this information, there must be something that we have to matching with. So that means we will normally using the invoice number. Okay, so we are going to dealing with the invoice number, my dear friend. So invoice number, because we have this invoice number. Okay, so this invoice number, I wanted to applying it as a drop-down menu. I'm not going to put in invoice, let's say, for example, invoice, okay, followed by 1001. I don't want to type in manually. So we worry that we have an error of the keywords, a lot of error. So typo errors would occur. So from time to time. So to avoid having this issue, so my dear friend, therefore you have to prepare a list. So where is the source of this invoice number? Okay, so I'm just sharing out with you. Let me just working out with the source provided here. Supposedly, I have to have another unique data record regarding on this. So never mind, I'm just going to preparing that over to the side of the screen. So which is this source over here, J. Let's say, for example, I have this invoice. Let me make a copy, easier. So I just needed that data record. Okay, so I just needed to have a repeated data record. So I just give you some number. We have, let's say here, the number of my data record going down to 1,000. So I could have easily, let's say the invoice number, let you seeing that I have 1,999. So we have this number of invoice number. Okay, so some could be unique, sometimes could be just a repeated data. So for sure, I needed to have another data record, which is unique, so of the storage. Well, I'm just simply preparing a short one for you to go through. So this data source would be part of my cell referencing. Okay, so cell referencing. So refer to where? Refer here. So I'm going to delete and destroying this invoice number, and I'm going to work with the data validation. So next to the consolidate, we have bottom here, which is data validation. All right, sorry for that. So click on this data validation. Let me just maximize the screen, and I'm going to minimize the screen once more. All right, allowing any value? Nope, we just needed a list. So where's the source to get the list? All right, so the source to get the list was going further to source and where I have this unique number of record. So I just give you a few number of data records. Supposedly I have to have more on that until 1999. Okay, so let me just hit OK button so that I have a drop down menu from here. So everybody will be able to get this drop down menu. Next level, how would you going to fill in this? Okay, so with the latest version of the functions and formula, so especially for the text and the data, so concern, so we have the features called filter. Okay, so of course, if you're looking through my solution, so that was regarding on the filter formula. So referring to the filter formula, we have to referring to the table source. Okay, so we have to go to the table because filter divided by a few three different argument. So filter do have three different argument. So let me share with you. First argument was array, followed by comma, then include. So array means that the list that you are going to show on screen. So number two, include would be condition. So what is the area that you would like to include? So to tally with the IC number from here, the invoice number from here. Okay, so that's the second portion. We have to tell them if this filter encounter issue, we don't want to display error message or spill error. We want them to display 0 at the back of the screen. So that's why I prepared these formulas on the top. So I have that solutions given to you on the top. So what I have to do, I'm just going to make a copy of this. All right. So later on, I'll further explain on how to do that. So where is this? How come we have a complicated table 1? All right, and so on and so forth. So that was the table name. All right, that was the table name. So let me just put in there the equal sign followed by paste. As long as I completed this formula, all right, so I'm just going to check and see filter table 1. All right, so array, which is the name. So the moment that we click on the header, so just hold on first, equals to, again, filter, source. This is the name that we wanted to display. Okay, so after that, followed by comma. And of course, we hope that the invoice number, which is here, this invoice number tally with the data record that we have. So next, I'm going to click on the invoice number. That's why I have a table 1 invoice number. That's the table indication. So that feature must be equal to, all right, must be equal to, so the invoice, so this drop-down menu, which is this drop-down menu. Okay, so that we have gone through the data validation. So far behind, we will continue on with comma, and if anything so happen to the screen, we're going to show a closing bracket. So now I'm just going to press enter. I hope that this answer is going to appearing to the screen. They can't recognize. Okay, so if can't recognize, then I have to change a little bit of my source. So the source over here, I have to temporary referring to the source that I have. There must be some information which is not recognizing by the system. Okay, so I hope that this will work. Okay, there you go. Yes. So just now can't work because they can't recognizing the text. Okay, so I did some formatting on the text. Wow, there you go. If the invoice 1015, so I have a long list given here. Okay, so which is when we can do the data validations, so deal with the invoice list. All right, so I have completed this particular feature. So may I move over to the next feature? Now, sometimes you will came across that the data, okay, so coming through in download picture, especially in the, let's say, in your WhatsApp. So you have snap a photo of a receipt or either from a table. So that receipts could be coming through a form of a table. So I have a photographic image, so which I also wanted to share with you on this. So nevertheless, I'm also coming back to work out with how would you going to manipulate the data when the data was given as a picture. There was this feature, could be a new feature to everybody. So from picture, especially under the data ribbon. So we have a get data all the way from picture. It's one of the new feature here. So of course, what I needed to do was I have to find out where's the file. Okay, so the file was actually located in my picture folder where I have this. All right. So this was a snap photo, so that's why running as a JPEG format. So this is quite common, JPEG format. Once you snap a photo, either you download it from WhatsApp or any other program. So because this format of a JPEG already compressed in a smaller version. So you notice that the picture image that I'll share with you could have a little bit of gray color. So doesn't matter, we just click on insert, because nowadays in Microsoft Excel do come along with Power Query. Yeah, so we have that. Now wait for a while, letting the system load the information. Okay, so now we notice that the picture was there and the insert data was given over to the bottom. So whereby they're actually telling us that we can go through the review. So if you encounter certain information which is not so clear, so they will highlight. So they will highlight, they have 27 items. All right, so they have these 27 items. So given here, oops, hold on, let me share again. Okay, so for the moment, I just needed to accept. Okay, so I accept that. And I plan to just do a quick insert of this data record. So yes, I just confirm, a bit slow. Okay, so the system getting the informations ready. So we saw that the capture of the information, they are quite okay. So, and luckily the system recognizing a certain a column of this euro sign. Okay, so and they put it into a new column. All right, so this is I like the most from here. I could directly delete because we don't really needed that symbol. So from the screen, I can directly delete the D column. So the rest of the info that I plan to show, maybe I may consider to do it furthermore in the, so in which we call it Power Query. All right, so of course, if you wanted to go to the Power Query, you have to get ready going to the top. So from the current table range. So my dear friend, I'm just quickly sharing out. Of course, we are not going into a very detail. We just wanted to have a quick screening through. So what is a quick manipulating of the data? So I'm just clicking on these from tables or range. So kindly wait for a while. So the system actually appearing, creating a table. And yes, my tables do have a header. Okay, so once I completed, just let the system popping out the screen. Sometimes take a little bit of time when we are actually sharing the screen for the moment together with a data record. So because through the system, we have a screen going into another screen. Okay, so don't get a shock when you are first time to the Power Query. Power Query just like a usual table format. And normally query supposedly is a query language, so which was run by last time in those days through the system. Okay, so engineer, they maybe needed to work with the database connectivity, so they will come over to the Power Query. Power Query was quite, I mean, not Power, but query language was quite famous for those who still using Microsoft Access. Okay, so or database. Okay, so the database table linking table. Of course, this query here is actually meant for to do some data correction. Okay, so let's say, for example, I found out from the category, so we have some blank spacing in between. So we do notice that we have some blank spacing. So that's why on top of the home ribbon, they have all sorts of cleaning process for you to go through. So not only home, they also have a transform. So tab followed by adding column if you wanted to add on new column or either just to view the content. So from the home, I found out I have to do a little bit of transform. So which when I'm highlighting this category and also product, okay, the moment that I highlighted these two columns, while holding down Control key, the system highlighted these two columns. If you are new, we just introduce how to use the Power Query for the first round. So because we wanted to get rid of that blank space, so we wanted to replace the value blank space with no data record. Okay, replace value. So value to find. All right, so I put in a space bar. So replace with nothing. Okay, so we just wanted them to get rid of nothing. So that means they will help me to cleaning up all my information. So no worry about the formulas presented because system following your mouse click on the button, then they will going to do some writing on the query language behind the scene. All right. So of course, anything else? I also would like to find out. I do not know whether the keywords in front may have a little bit of space. I wanted to get rid of the space. So therefore, maybe I would just directly going to the transform. Transform would be more towards over to the formatting feature. So I found out that was a formatting features there. Okay. So a quick one, capital letter, uppercase. So I highlighted two columns. As you notice that they all changed to capital letter. Besides that, we also wanted to trim. Okay, so I wanted to trim the space, unnecessary space in front. Okay, so that's the most important portion. Okay, so now I almost done. I have nothing much to put it over here unless I wanted to change the formats. Let's say if I were to go to the sales, when you join the actual session, then you are going to work with this. Maybe you would like to have a currency decimal number or together with the currency, you can change. So that's the currency. And of course, the rating over here was the percentage to show the percentage. I would like to display this column as a percentage. Now I have done some customization, so and cleaning up of my data. All right, so now I'm moving further back, so to the home ribbon on the top. So now I would be going to kind of like saving and closing this Power Query editor. Okay, so to closing this Power Query editor, so most of the time I will look into the close and load. Okay, so for me, I'm going to work with the close and load too. So I want to actually select where do I want to load my finish cleaning data, manipulated data into which file or either which worksheet. So that's why I would be going to select the second choice. Okay, so now wait for a while. They will have another pop-out screen. I just needed to wait for a while. Okay, so they will come out here. All right, so first of all, the data imported from the picture. So, and we converted become a table due to the Power Query. If we cleaning up the data finish, now we wanted to re-importing the information. So where do I want to place this table to? So that's why the second round that I import, I would like to import it. So as a table format, you have plenty of choices. So of course, I just make it simple and easy. So I just needed to assign it over to the existing worksheet. From here onwards, I just needed to click with OK. So once I click OK, then I will have another table which was cleaning up. The old one, not yet. So I'm just comparing old table versus the first table, the new table. Ta-da, I have done my job. Okay, so I have done my job. Just only a small little correction. So the small little correction, you notice maybe sometimes the moment that you glance through, so you saw some symbol which you wanted to beautify it, such as I found out this one. So I don't know how come they have this little full stop symbol. Did you aware of that? So yeah, so when with a sharp eyes, so when you're always coming along with a huge data record, we had that actually in the beginning stage. So we wanted to complete the task from here. Let's say this one happened to me. Most of the time, I wouldn't panic. All right, I knew that this product could be repeating. So the most important portion, So we just required to use the alternate and down arrow key, just now the shortcut. Picking from the drop-down menu, we notice in the list of our existing record, we do have helmets. So we just needed to getting this data record, putting it back. So, and then that's it. All right, so we done the feature. Of course, we have completed this table. Of course, some of you were saying that, Pauline, I wanted to know more. Can I change or converting this table region to become a pivot table? Yes. So a quick pivot table can be done over to the top table design, summarize, pivot table. So I'm just using existing worksheet because my data was short and sweet. Let me just put it over here, somewhere in the middle. And column, I give a blank column in between. So the skeleton of the pivot table was out. So from here, maybe I'll just consider to put up the product list. So followed by the sales figure. Okay, so I can quickly generating a report from here. So I also wanted to share with you, with the latest version, we do have that splitting. So the pivot table based on your filter category. So let's say, for example, I do have a category, which that category is showing us whether under clothing, so under components or under bytes, okay, category. Therefore, category area, so I'm just putting up over to the top of the filter area. So on top of this pivot table, we can display accessories. So of course, accessories information will going to shown on screen. If I'm going to do an online, so presentation, so we notice that the moment that we are using the drop-down menu was actually covering my background. So after I click on OK, then only I see the final result. So have you actually thought of, so splitting this category into different multiple worksheets? All right, so have you thought of that? If you have thought of this using Excel 365, so they will have such feature. So I'm bringing to changing this filter back to original data record. So let me just confirm with OK. I'm just moving up to the pivot table analyze. All right, so the first button below the name of the table, we saw there was this option. Most of the time, these options, we are putting that as a setting. So understood this was a setting options. So through the options, we have one more new feature. Only Office 365 do have that, show report filter pages. So we just required to click show report and filter the pages. All right, so now are we sure we wanted to have this category being filtered? Yeah, so I'm excited to share with you the answer. While I'm actually click on OK, I hope that you may referring to the worksheets. So because below my worksheets were generating, so 4 or 5 category from there. So each of their category will displaying with a nice summary table by itself. So let me hit this OK button. Well, wow, well done. Amazing feature that Microsoft completed. So these accessories, as I told you, I walked through with you the bike, clothing, all right, so and followed by component, 4 worksheets, Microsoft generated. So I have no issues at all. So even though I still have that original data records given. Okay, so well, now let me just moving further, almost coming to the end though. So that's coming to the end. I'm just sharing out these features sometimes, isn't it? We have printing out. So I've done with this pivot table and splitting them in a multiple data content. So next one, the hack 11. So we wanted to actually saving the space when we come to the printing. So why I say so? Because the paper, the size of the paper is only A4 or either A3 in the printer. So let me brought you over to the print area. So when I'm coming over to the print area, if the data record was long, So that will overflow until second page. Did you notice that? So we have newest formulas that you can work with, which we call it wrap rows. So we can use this wrap rows function. So to solve, let's say, if you plan not to wasting the paper, I'm just simply sharing out, I have a long list of these employees whereby I would like to transform so these employees to become a multiple column. So because when I'm just walking through with you via the printing, so it seems like this area so was empty. Okay, we don't want to wasting that area. So we hope that the informations of employees can be actually arranged in a multiple column. So that's why they have these such wrap rows that we could use. They have a wrap columns and also wrap rows. Why we choose the wrap rows? Because the informations that we always got was running in the same different rows. Okay, we wanted to convert the rows, wrap it up, so to make it as a column, just like doing a transform. So now, without further ado, let me begin with equal sign. Okay, so let me move on to the wrap, followed by rows. Okay, so vector means that your data record, the list. So the data record list. So updated, continue with comma. So then, therefore, the system was asking, where do I want, how many columns that I wanted to wrap? So let's say, for example, I given you a clue, I wanted to have a 5 column. All right, so that's all. We don't have to have the pad width. So we just needed to show this information. So let me press enter, will do. I will have all the rest of the answers given out. Okay, so tada. Now, if I were just sharing out again once more to the file menu via printing, going through this printing, you guys would be seeing that, wow, so they wrap it nicely. So I can saving up all my data record in one worksheet, or even though I can change the portrait orientations become landscape. Okay, so this is how we actually arrange the data record when you wanted to saving the paper. So when doing the printing. Okay, so now, of course, coming over to the end here, so I wanted to share with you on the interactive, so user interface. So have you seen people nowadays planning to use the checkbox? So I was actually created these habits. So do we have a good habits? So let's say a daily habits like going to gym. All right, so wake up early. So read 10 pages. Okay, so drink 3,000 3 liter, so 3,000 ml of water. So bedtime before 10 p.m. All right, so meditate from time to time. Okay, so this is a good habit. All right, so we just wanted to have, let's say, some interactive feature. So let me highlight. I prepared that table. So the solution I already writing down. So the step by step, of course, is just filling in the blank. So there was a new feature given by Office 365, which was this checkbox. So let me just click the checkbox. So notice that the checkbox without needed any of VBA source code. There is no need on the VBA source code. With the new feature, insert checkbox, which is here, part of the control. All right, Microsoft was trying their best to creating user interface via insert ribbon. Okay, we hope to see it more. So we hope that Microsoft would doing this more for the future. Okay, so of course we had this checkbox. You can click, so you can do your task. Yes, it started to interact. But let's say if you do have some interaction without a formulas, so without displaying them as a percentage format, definitely that could be defeat a purpose. So we just allowing user to interact with the schedule. All right, for the day 1, for the day 2, and so on and so forth. So first of all, at the bottom, I was actually getting the ready with the total percentage. All right, the total percentage was super easy. You just required to have a count if formula. So to check how many checked, so how many provided the ticks, So divided by the total number of objects given here. So we would be using count A. All right, so to do that. So the sample of the formulas, you can see that through this total percentage. So I'm going to input that particular formula. So to make it fast, so I'm just going to make a copy of this content. Okay, so I make a copy over here and I just implement with the equal and just paste it. So I'm just telling my system to capture the count E formula. So using a count E formula, so who is actually true? So count whoever provided the check. Okay, so now let the system display the percentage. All right, so due to that, because we have a divisions given, and I also converted my cell so to become a percentage format, my dear friend. So I'm just making this so to the rest of the, so to the day 7. So whatever fill up with the checkpoint, then we will be able to get it through. So if error is to checking, if there is wrong data record, they will be showing 0. So if there is no checks at all, then here this information shows as a 0. Similarly, we were going to have the same formula to the rest of the information. So let me just make a copy, count if, so divide by count A function. So let me just begin with equal to and followed by the formulas from here. Second formula, and I'm just begin with the equal sign and I paste it there. So for these functions and formula was regarding on the first row, so which is the gym. And of course, let me complete these tasks once I'm copying over to the bottom. All right, so the horizontal bar was given out. Yeah, okay, so if this is necessary, and of course, in the end of the day, we just needed to have an average formula for the end. In the end of this total, so we just needed to have the percentage. So whereby the rest of these completed, we just completed that by filling in the data record. Okay, so now you can see the interaction. So of course, the column of this info given by the total done through conditional formatting. So I was actually going to share with you manage rules given here. So I created a bar chart. So this is the simplest way if you wanted to showing that a bar chart on screen. Okay, of course, next, if you wanted to relate some of the interaction, so let's say, for example, how many percent already completed? We're just telling them the average amount from the J22. Okay, so 14% completed. So what is the best habit that we have, or what is the worst habit that we have? So if you wanted to display the best, of course, X lookup, my dear friend. So the X lookup formula was consider the nicest formula. So to avoid calculating the number of column. So this will going to overcome, already called overcome the feature of VLOOKUP. So the purpose of doing that, let me just given you the final result from here. Okay, so I've done. Okay, so wake up early. So what's the latest information? Of course, if you just check from the color, so lookup value, I was using maximum. So because we are looking for the best, so the maximum amount of the total percentage here. So comparing with the lookup value, so this is the lookup value without the maximum. From here, we extracted out the maximum number. So return answer, we just hope that return answer to show on screen was the habit. Okay, so I have completed. What about the worst? Okay, so answer from that. The worst answer, my dear friend, that would be coming through. So with Control C followed by Control V. So the differences between best and worst, the lookup value we were using minimum. From the list of J16 to J21, we find out who is the lowest. So lowest and matching from the same list J16 and J21, return answer is the name. Okay, so then give us the actual record from here. So this was a part of the interaction. If you wanted to see the diagram or charts, definitely can. We can create a simple charts and diagram. All right, so let me just move over to the last portion, which is this insert chart, line chart. Okay, a simple line chart, simple line chart. We don't really need it a complicated. Okay, so the line chart, hold on, I have to pick up the value, sorry. I have to pick up the total percentage of this value. So then only I'm going to insert the line chart from here. So just little information for you. And I'm just going to change a little bit because we don't really need it to displaying a lot of information, such as the chart title. We already had that table given at the bottom. Yes, grid line, getting ready, and also data labels, you may getting ready. Sometimes we notice that the line is too straight and too stiff. Okay, so we wanted to smoothen the line. So that's why I'm now going to select the line and I'm working with the customization by going into the customization. So the more options to go over. So to happen to open up these format data. So the data series, we hope that to go to this little pocket. So to get the fill the line. So nothing much that I needed to change, but I just wanted to change the line become a smooth line. Okay, so I'm going to click this button from the scroll down. Okay, so next, lastly, just minimize the screen from here. Okay, so done the deal. Whereby, so next is going to add in the relevant data record. It seems like decreasing until day 7, so can't really progress furthermore, so you just needed to keep track. Okay, so we noticed that with simple hacks like this, they will generating the user interactive interface. Okay, so at last, for sure, flash fill. Anyone have been using flash fill from time to time? So if you had been using flash fill from time to time, that was part of the data ribbon. Okay, so sometimes these data ribbons are having the features called flash fill, so which is helping you to automatically fill in the values that if you needed to. So I would just calling that as a quick combine or splitting the data if I needed to add on. If I added planning to slot in some others information, I was just using a flash fill. Okay, of course, nowadays, the formulas also do have a split data, combined data, so function and formula. But if you're still not familiar with the existing or new functions, so that would be in the future when you sit into the formulas and function class, you may actually learn that particular feature. For the moment, we have these quick and easy features that we can implement on the screen. So such as I would like to combine. Okay, so the pizza category, let's say, for example, the same source data record from just now the invoice. So we wanted to combine with the size. So I'm going to do it real quick from here. So I'm just putting the cursor there and providing keywords. I have to, first of all, type in the pattern that I want. So let's say, for example, I would like to type in this classic with a capital letter. So together with an underscore followed by M, capital letter. Okay, so I'm just going to combining. So pizza category versus the pizza size. So the last two category. So after completed, this was the pattern. I'm changing classic become capital letter. All right, so I'm just telling the system finishing this job with a flash fill. So which means I may use the button, click on the top, or either the shortcut key Control E. May I use Control E right away? So I completed the task right away. So this is what I meant by quickly fill in your data record just in a super easy way. So I have completed so far the flash fill. So I hope that I have more time to share with you more info. So I think this would be the end of my so interesting features of all the how would you fix so some problem from daily work. So I hope that you guys enjoying so my presentation. So well, allowing me to pass the floor to Mr. Adin. Okay.
Wow. Thank you, Pauline, for sharing such valuable insights. Now, let's move on to our Q&A session. I see some great questions coming in already. I think there's about 4 questions. Let's start with this one. How to get the arrow symbol?
How to get the arrow symbol?
Yep.
What do you mean by arrow symbol? I mean, I needed to actually knowing more specific. Is it because of the custom format? So the custom format, yes. To get the symbol, you could actually get it from the Windows with a full stop. So can you see that my shortcut key, Windows and full stop? So you can actually get the arrows from here. So the category, you have to look at the, hold on, I'm just moving the mouse over. So this is the symbol that we have. Okay, so we have to go to the category arrows. So we can see that they have a little tiny arrow. So from the general reason use. So these are the area that we had the general use of the arrow. So that shortcut key was using Windows. So that means okay, hold on. Because I have to make sure my mouse was ready. So as long as if you wanted to add in arrow, so you have to have the Windows icon from the keyboard. So look around your spacebar. Do you have that Windows? Okay, so look for that button and then follow by pressing full stop. So then the pop-out symbols will come up. Windows together with the full stop. All right, in order to get those arrow. Number 2, this is actually a pop-out windows. As you notice that just now, just only I'm sharing out this feature. Yep, so from here, and of course, I can go to the general punctuation, currency, and I can scroll further to the line, Latin symbol, so geometric. Okay, so mostly geometric, you can see the most arrow. So this is one of the technique. Yeah, so one of the technique. Another way was, not mistaken, insert. We have the symbol here. You can also get the symbols ready. If I were to given you a clue, so when you are going to the insert ribbon and we have this little symbol, I'm just sharing out by zooming in the category. In the font category, we have web things. So web things shows the most picture, make picture format. So followed by W category, web things. So we have a wingdings. Second category, you can see a nice arrow. Okay, slanting arrow. So a plain arrow. Okay, checkbox. So X, this is only meant for symbol. All right, next one, you could also getting the symbol from wingdings too. Okay, so you could actually scroll up and scroll down. So to look for the arrow symbol, but wingdings 2, no. Wingdings 3, yes, the most arrow. Okay, so did I solve your problem? That's the first question.
Okay,
Yeah, that.
yeah, I think that's a good explanation. So I'll pick another 2 questions. One is general one and another one is technical. So There's a question from Frida Razali. How similar is Power Query and Power BI? And for the technical one, how do you add or automate another color column design in the Flash Fill Hack 13?
Okay. So the third one, it seems like technical. Okay, let me answer the second questions. The second questions regarding on the differentiates between Power Query, if not mistaken, the differentiates between Power Query versus Power BI. Am I right, Adin? Okay, Power Query basically, if you heard Power Query, meaning that I needed my table, so I needed to clean up the some unnecessary symbols, cleaning up the data. So from there and format the data accordingly to the specific format that I should use for future. Whereby Power BI, so Power BI wasn't actually belongs to the internal feature that you can get it from the get or transform data. So because the Power Query is part of the transform data, because from a raw information, we wanted to transform to make it as a meaningful data record, whereby Power BI, because Power BI, you are getting ready business intelligence. So that means once you are planning to get ready with the business intelligence, you are planning, you already had your data record. You already manipulate it nicely. So you changes, you cleaning up, you prepared well with the reporting such as uh, pivot table. So you are going to show it so onto the Power BI. So whatever reporting before showing on the screen, because Power BI is kind of like you are going to the real world and upload it to the server. So and everybody seeing from their own devices. So that is what we call it. You are generating to publishing your report too. Yeah. So that's the two differences. So Power Query and Power, of course, without the Power BI, you have to knowing how to, so cleaning up the table. That's why sometimes you learn Power BI, you must knowing the Power Query first. Am I answering that questions? So if yes, maybe you could give me a thumbs up. Yep. Well, the third questions, I really need to read the statement. I couldn't catch what's the meaning of the third statement though.
The question is from Tan Yi Hui Wendy 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
How do you add or automate another color column design in the Flash Fill Hack 13?
Flashview Hack 13.
Mhm.
Wait, come again. The questions was how am I
Add or automate another color.
add or automate another color? What do you mean by add or automate another color? The automating of the color was came out, or it was automatically because my report were actually were done in a design under table format. So these resources was actually being converted as a is she looking for these different color format? Yeah. So if you are dealing with a table design, so the color can be changed from time to time. If I'm creating a new column, so let's say new information. So let's say if I were to put in my name there, so if I just press enter, the color automatically out. So they were generating a preset title. So because I didn't provide a title, I only provide the contents that I want. When I provide the contents that I want, the color was being automated. So that design or the style was given by system. Okay, so each computer will have their own default styles and own default color. So if I'm changing it as a gray color mode, my table will turn to gray color. So a alternate color was done by system also because the coloring portion, so was actually showing in this manner. Okay, so I hope that I did answer her questions well. So I hope that I can see and read through the statement properly. Yeah, because I can't hear properly from Dean's wording. Yeah, so to making me more, so I have to actually working out what was that. Okay, Dean, may I pass to you?
Yes. Okay. Thank you again, Pauline, for your insight and answer from our participant question. So we hope today's session gave you fresh perspective and practical takeaway on using Excel hack quick fix for everyday struggles to enhance your workplace productivity. Want to take your Excel skills further? If you found today's session valuable and want to continue improving your Excel skills, we offer a variety of Microsoft Excel training programs that can help you take your abilities to the next level. Interested? Feel free to reach out via WhatsApp or email, and we'll share more details on how you can get started. Before we wrap up, we would really appreciate if you could take a minute to leave us a Google review. Your feedback helps us improve our session and plan future workshops that best fit your needs. Plus, we have a monthly lucky draw. One lucky reviewer will receive a mystery gift. Drop your review here. I will pause for a minute to give you time to submit your review. If you have any questions about today's session or are interested in our other training programs, feel free to reach out. For technical training, you can email to us by this email, techcenter@infotrack.com. And for soft skills training, us@coreshare.com. That wraps, that wraps up today's session. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate your time and participation. We look forward to seeing you at our next workshop. Have a great day ahead. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.